It's one of the most notorious phases in all of astrology, and it is feared by both occultists and spiritualists alike. Hey everyone, it's Edge of Nightfall here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be looking at Mercury retrograde, and more specifically how we can take this seemingly negative event that happens quite frequently and utilize it to our advantage. So with that all out of the way, let's get into the video. So what is Mercury retrograde? Well, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially a point in time where the planet Mercury is, from Earth's perspective, is seeming to go backwards. Now, obviously this isn't actually happening, but it's just the perspective that we have of the planet's motion. Now, according to astrology, during this time, when Mercury goes retrograde, crucial components to day-to-day life seem to go wrong. Things start to happen such as everything from accidents to mishaps to any sort of mishap that has to do with the things that Mercury corresponds to, such as travel, communication, technology to a large extent. These things seem to be greatly interrupted during this time. And so Mercury retrograde actually, in my opinion, has a sort of negative stigma for good reason. It's definitely something that in my own life I've experienced the negative aspects of, for sure. I have had plenty of mishaps and accidents and things of that nature happen in my life during this time period. So it's always something that I'm aware of when this time is approaching. Mercury retrograde happens 3 times a year, so it's something that is frequent enough to where you want to keep your eye out for it. But in this video, I want to shed some light on the idea that Mercury retrograde, while it can bring a lot of chaos to people, is not an entirely bad thing. Like most things in the occult, there is a subjectivity to Mercury retrograde, or there are 2 sides to it, both positive and negative. And so I want to explore kind of what this positive aspect of it is. So when it comes to retrogrades in general, when it comes to whatever planet we are referring to, whatever that planet embodies, whatever it rules over in our lives, when that planet is retrograde, the energies are more geared towards redoing that specific aspect of our life. And so naturally, with Mercury ruling things like communication and technology and the intellect and even magic, this is a great time for you to be able to go back and essentially redo things that you left unfinished or just didn't work out during a non-Mercury retrograde period. So while this event may seem like it's solely destructive, what I have found is that this event can be looked at as more of a constructive thing rather than a destructive thing based on what side you're going with. Are you going against the current of this retrograde, or are you going with it? In my experience, when you revisit things that were left unfinished, specifically when it comes to things that have to do with productivity or maybe certain career goals that align with mercurial energies and your magical goals as well, if you have anything that is left unfinished, pursuing those things, picking them back up when Mercury is in retrograde, I have found is extremely beneficial. And the whole event goes from being something that is wildly chaotic in many ways to something that is either A, teaching you a lesson, and or B, a time period that is meant to be taken advantage of. So it's important to look at this not as a solely negative event. It has this stigma surrounding it because of, again, the chaos that ensues usually during this time period. And you do want to be careful during this time because accidents can happen, such as, when you're driving, or, there can be like delays when it comes to trips, or, there are things that can happen that cause this time to be very difficult, but it's almost like you want to observe where those mishaps are pointing you towards. What direction are they trying to take you in, and why? Mercury retrograde is also treated like some event that has nothing to do with the greater picture of your life and your true will or your ultimate destiny. And from my experience, that just isn't the case. It does have a sense of alignment to it that has to do with the lessons that we as human beings, and especially occult or spiritual practitioners, are going through. So that's also something you really want to pay attention to, is what general direction is it guiding you towards. As abrupt as the guidance may be, I think that that's ultimately what this phase of time is. My mentality towards this has totally shifted as I have progressed as an occultist. I almost look forward to it now. In fact, in many respects, I actually do look forward to Mercury retrograde, whereas before, I dreaded it completely. I was like, why does this, interrupting astrological shift have to happen now? I'm trying to make progress when it comes to certain goals, but now I recognize the benefit that it has when you allow it to point out what needs to be worked on. The lessons that can come with this can be a little bit difficult to deal with, because usually they're brought forth by Mercury to your attention through, again, like I said, the chaos and just generally things just not working the way you would like them to. But what Mercury points to is ultimately something that needs to be taken care of. From my experience, it's something that has to be dealt with to one degree or another, or you just will not progress in the way that is most beneficial for you. So again, really pay attention to what you're being guided towards during this time. Try and shift your focus when it comes to this as something that should be dreaded to something that should be taken advantage of, because it really, in my personal experience and opinion, is just part of a grand ebb and flow, if you will, as is true with all of the retrogrades, as I mentioned, because each and every single one of them bring their own lessons and benefits to them if you have the understanding that that is what they're doing and you take advantage of that. So that is why the hated Mercury retrograde is actually a good thing, contrary to popular thought, and how you can take advantage of it for your own benefit. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section below. Were you aware of this beforehand? And if not, did this video help you at all? And also be sure to post your experiences with Mercury retrograde, both good and bad. I would be very interested to hear in some of your stories down in the comments section below, and any strategies that you may be implementing from this point forward after watching this video. And let me know what you're going to go back on and try and fix that didn't work out in maybe months or even years prior. I'd be very interested to hear in what you all are going to try and redo in your lives and hopefully finish up to your liking. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a like and follow me on all my social media platforms outside of YouTube. The links for those will be in the description below and in the pinned comment. Thank you all for the support you've given me over the years. I really do appreciate it. Again, I hope this video helped you out immensely, and I will see you guys in the next video.